we will be discussing about the sliding window technique. It is a technique used to optimize problems incorporating operations on several elements and characters. So, by several elements, I mean we would be using standard data structures like arrays and strings. So, sliding window technique is used to perform optimization problems on arrays and strings usually. And the primary use of such a technique is because it reduces time complexity from O(n) square to O(n). The time complexity of O(n) square primarily occurs because most people would use a naive approach to solve some problems related to arrays. So, for example, maybe you are asked to find the maximum sum of all possible subarrays. So, I will take an example and show. Let's say you are given an array of size 7 here, of size 8, and a certain window size of 3. This window size may vary, and the size of the array may also vary. And you are asked to find the maximum sum of all possible subarrays. So, a naive approach to solve this problem would be to take two loops. How is that? Let's say you write first a for loop, an outer for loop in I variable for I equals 0. I'm using the Java syntax because you can use any syntax. In Python it would be for I in range something, but in Java this would be for I equals 0, I is less than the size of the array, I'm assuming it is n, and I plus plus. So you're iterating the outer loop from 0 to n minus 1. It's just generic how you use for loops. And the inner nested loop would be running from j equal to I, j less than I plus k, j plus plus. I have assumed that the question has given me the window size of k, the size of the array is n. So, and now you would have to use a sliding window technique to solve the problem. Now, see, what you have to do is we have to find the maximum sum. You have to find the maximum sum of all possible subarrays in this given array. So, a possible solution would be run an outer loop from I equal to 0, I less than an I plus plus, and run an inner loop. Let's say the loop variable is j, from I to I plus k, because we have to update the window size after each iteration. Let's say initially the I variable is 0, so it is pointing to ARR of 0, which is 2. J is also pointing to the 0th index. It will go up to I plus k. Since I is initially 0, it will go to 0 plus, let's say the window size is 3, to 0 plus 3, j plus plus, and you will write some body. It could be anything. So this is a naive approach. Each time I will get updated, j, if this is I initially at 0, after the inner loop has been executed, I would update to 1, j will also update to 1, and j would go up to 1 plus 3, which is equal to 4. So you see the window size would be updated up to here, and this would go on, and so on, the last one. However, if you see, this approach uses two loops. Two loops means the time complexity reaches to O(n) square. It is not a very optimized solution. Now in order to perform the operation in O(n) complexity, we can also use simply one array. There is a solution to use only one loop and do the solution. So we will redraw the array again. We are given an array of 8 elements. And 5. Okay, here also we will use a sliding window technique. Imagine a metaphorical window. We just have to slide it by one to the right. So if initially the window is at position, the beginning of the window is at 0, here it is at k minus 1, so this is the window. Then it must update to here, and then here, and it must go on. So in order to do this, if you see, there is a logic over here. Simply this technique is also not used because so let's say you're finding the maximum sum of all possible subarrays, and in the first iteration you sum up this element, you sum up this element, and this element. So initially you have the sum of 2 plus 4 plus 1, which is 7. Now in the next iteration, j would go from index number 1 to index number 3. If you see carefully, 4 and 1, these two elements are repeated again in the next iteration. So this repetition is what we have to avoid. To avoid such repetition, there is another technique. Why not, instead of repeating again adding these two numbers, in the next iteration, why don't we remove the first number from here, add another number from here, and do not work on these two numbers in the next iteration. What I mean is, let's say initially you had 2, 4, 1. The next element is 9. To reach this element, what I just simply do is add this particular element, remove 2. Again I have an array of size 3. So my size is maintained as I moved forward. I'll again add another element, remove this element, again add another element, remove the first element, and this is how I'm going to move forward. So all we have to do is add a new element and remove the first element. A possible code for this particular problem would be, we'll again iterate the loop from 0 to n, or let's take two variables, because in this case, since we are not considering these two elements, we have to find some more extra logic. This logic incorporates two more variables. Let I equal to 0 and j equal to 0. We take two variables. We will iterate j inside the loop and we will take it up to k. Once j reaches k, we'll evaluate an else condition. So it will be more clear when I write the for loop. So I will iterate for loop from j equal to 0, j is less than n, j plus plus. Similar to what I did in the naive approach, I'm taking outer loop from j equal to 0, I'm iterating to n. Then here I'm checking the condition if j minus I plus 1 is less than k. So what does this condition mean? Okay, first we'll add the elements. S plus equal to, we'll maintain a variable s also, initialize to 0. This is just to store the sum of the elements, because our original problem was to find the maximum sum of all possible subarrays. So we'll find the sum of the array element. This is important because this is j, sorry. This is important, we'll come to know this later, why I have summed up the array, why I've added the sum before this particular condition. So when j will get updated within this loop. So if j minus I plus 1 is less than k, what we will do is we'll increment j. Else if, okay, we'll just write else if j minus I plus 1 becomes equal to k. Since each time we are updating the value of j, we do not want the j to exceed the window size. The window size we have taken is 3. So j will go from 0, j will go from 0, it will go to 1, and then it will go to 2. So when it reaches 2, I want to ensure that 2 minus I is initialized to 0. So 2 minus 0 plus 1, it should be equal to the size of the window. So when it reaches equal to the size of the window, I will do some modification. What will I do? First I will find the maximum. I'll take another variable over here, max equal to 0. This will basically store my maximum sum. Each time this will get updated as and when a new sum is encountered. So we will say max equal to math. I'm using Java syntax, so I'm using a math class, math.max s, in Python you would simply use max. In JavaScript you would also use the same syntax. I'm aware of these three languages. Other languages also have similar functions. I will write s, max. So first I will evaluate the maximum between sum and max. Obviously, since max is initialized to 0, sum would be updated each time before this condition is evaluated. So the sum would be initially stored in max, and then I will do I plus plus and j plus plus. So what happens is that initially my window size is fixed. My I and j are both initialized to 0th index. That is now I'm first adding the elements up to the first window size from 0 to 3. So each time this condition passes and j gets incremented. My I variable I will not increment until I reach my value of k. I will increment my j, I will increase my size, I will increase my window size, and I'll go up to my limit, which is 3. As I reach my limit, I would have to check, has my limit been reached? If it has been reached, I will compute my maximum variable. I will find the maximum between my sum and my max variable, which is initially initialized to 0, and then I will update my I variable. Why am I doing this? Why am I updating my I variable? I have to add another condition over here. See, when I'm updating my I variable, I will not update immediately. Before updating my I variable, I have to make one more modification. If you see, I have already told you, because we are using an optimized technique, we have to remove one element and add another element. Then we will get the same window size. We have to remove one element, add a new element, and get the same window size. That is how we will slide our window forward. That is how we will slide out window forward. Now to do that, I have to remove my first element. You see, my elements are summed up in my s variable. Now, so the logical thinking would be to remove the first element, which is stored in my ith index. My I initially points to 0. If I just say s minus error of I here, then I would be able to remove my first element, which is 2. What I will write over here is s minus equal to, this is a assignment operator notation, error of I. Then I will write I plus plus, and then I'll write j plus plus. I will increment my I because I have to move my window forward. I will first remove that element, increment my I variable, and move my window forward, and then this loop will continue. So as this loop continues, I will be able to find my maximum sum. So they see the sliding window technique is used in many other problems. This is just one of the problems. In other problems, you will be asked to find the first negative number in each subarray, or to find all possible subarrays whose XOR values is equal to the remaining number. So there are several problems. We will be discussing them in subsequent videos. That's all for now. Thank you.